The following is a Hoop Ball presentation.
Hoop Ballers! Welcome back. Hi. How's everyone doing? I hope well. Hope things aren't too chaotic out there for everyone. With a lot of these leagues popping up, I think some of this might start slowing down here in a little bit. I just hope it's all going okay for you guys. Anyways, this is a hoop ball presentation, hoop-ball.com. This is Hoop Ball Gaming, and I am Devin Ellington at DALE007 on Twitter. And we are going to be talking about some Korean baseball. Pretty heavy right now. It's pretty awesome too. But there's a lot of other stuff to talk about. First and foremost, how was that show yesterday with Ira? Been a while, but it was fun to reconvene. It was really fun. So as of right now, no promos. We do usually do the MyBookie read right here, mybookie.ag. You know, I'm not going to tell you not to use them right now, but we are not doing a plug or a read for them right now. I will say, just make sure to check all sports books out. You got to make sure to find the best value for you. Since we don't have a promo right now, it's my sole focus and goal right now to find someone who has a fundraiser or a charity or something that they are trying to put together or that they are putting together or have put together, and something that we can hopefully pump some good into. So if you know anyone or if you yourself are doing anything in your community or something like that, let me know. Think about getting into the field of nonprofit organizations. Maybe. I don't know. Anywho, again, my name is Devin. This is a hoop-ball.com presentation. Hoop Ball Gaming. So there's some other news, like I said, popping up. Bundesliga starting on the 16th. There are two different divisions in Bundesliga. So there's the main division and then there's pretty much like a JV squad. As I have been doing with this Korean baseball organization stuff, if you followed me on Twitter and seen the spreadsheets I've been putting out some like offensive breakdowns and metrics. Check those out, look them over, let me know how bad they stink if they do. I'm terrible at spreadsheets and docs and stuff, so if I can get some pointers from any of you guys, thank you. So I'll start digging into some Bundesliga teams, players, kind of some recent history. It's a pretty big league. It's a main league over there in Germany. It's a part of the championship series, if I'm not mistaken. They take part in some big tournaments over there. So these are some big teams coming back. Dortmund, Bruges. So yeah, we'll talk more about that coming up. And anyways, speaking about like Korean baseball organization, going to break down that card coming up. Now, I've been trying to figure out how to view these games as far as a strategy. Do I stay up all day, stay up all night through the wee hours, greet Korean baseball and the sun at the same time? Or do I go to bed like normal and then just set an alarm for like 3, 4 in the morning? I'm Central Time. I'm here in Kansas City. There's some people, I think it's, like the East Coast, they can wake up to it, get their day started, eat breakfast, and watch this baseball. I think that's pretty cool. But I'm still figuring that out. It's pretty cool, though, because they have the replays on ESPN, too. I think ESPN's done a pretty good job of this. I just found out that the TV affiliate over in Korea that we're getting the rights from, I guess, is called SPO TV, SPO TV. So if you can Google them and maybe check out some more information about this whole thing if you're interested. Speaking of other like things to get some information about the KBO, I've found it useful that there's already some affiliated and established people that have been covering the KBO for years. I mean, like I said in the last episode with Ira, this is a league that's been going on since 1982. There's a website I found called mykbo.net. That's the name of the Twitter as well, minus the .net. So it'd be at mykbo. Been really, really great and helpful. It's one guy that runs it, and he's got stats, and it's the best thing I've been able to find as far as seeing what's going on currently. You know, it's like you can watch a pitch-by-pitch tracker for every game. Gives you cool stats, has all the rosters, links, click on player profiles, all that good stuff. So check that out. And then also just the KoreaBaseball.com page itself is super helpful. It's got links to all the teams. Granted, most of the teams' pages are in Korean. You can try translating it. Most of them don't work, but I found a couple that did. So check that out also. To dig on into the good stuff, the meaty stuff, we're going to get ramped up here. Last night, the games that occurred, we will talk about those briefly. I won't dig too much into it. There was a lot of offense. The overs were kind of popular. So 3-2 to the overs last night. Nothing too crazy. And some other cool little background information about this league. The playoff structure. Once the regular season's over, the teams, I think it's 5 teams, so half the league, make the playoffs. Now, depending on your regular season wins is where you sit in the ladder. It's a ladder system. So the lowest seed plays the next remaining lowest seed. They move up the ladder. It's kind of like Mortal Kombat. There we go through the fighters. Yeah. There is some rain expected in the Saturday cards. So personally, myself, I probably won't be playing as heavily as I have been the last couple days. Oof, I tell you, I went 12-11 last night on my bets. The night before that, 12-4. So I've been going the heavy volume approach. And that's fun. Went 3-1, I think, on the Twitter picks I put out last night. Thanks to Lot, the Giants. They were losing 6-8. It was like 8-3, 6-2. They were down a lot. In the 8th inning, they came back. I took them on the money line at plus 115 or something like that. But they were plus something on the money line, and they ended up winning. And they lead the league in runs scored. So I'm not sure why they were that heavy of not a favorite. They've put 30 RBIs up, most in the league, 79 total bases, 8 homers, 9 doubles, 46 hits, most in the league. They've also got 32 runs scored. And they're doing that while hitting .313 as a team, 2 stolen bases. So if I can get them plus money, I'm just going to take them. They are undefeated. They're 4-0. They're tied atop the whole KBO with the NC Dinos right now, which is my team. I have adopted them as my favorite right now. Well, not right now, but like 6 days ago, but a lot more right now. Man, this team is like my team. They pitch, they play defense. They actually put up, I think it was like 12 or 13 runs last night. So, yeah, they scored 13 runs. So let's just run through the games instead of pitter-patting around. The first one, was the Hanwha Eagles. They took on the Kaiwoom Heroes. And this had a low total on it. And also, these teams don't really score a lot of runs. They kind of sit in the middle as far as slugging, on base percentages, everything. They're just kind of even keel throughout how they play. And so I think this game closed at 8 runs on the total. And so the pitching was dominant early on for Kaiwoom. They were able to get a couple runs across the board early. I think they scored 3 real quick in like the second inning on Hanwha. And just went ahead and cruised that all the way. I actually had Hanwha winning this because I thought the odds were nice. Hanwha holds their opponents to a little bit less of a batting average than what Kaiwoom does, so I thought they were going to get that pitching advantage. But I did hit on the under, so I think I was able to get at 8.5. To get at 8. So yeah, Kaiwoom beat Hanwha 5-3. We'll move on to the next one, and before we do that, just remember, check out, lots of different bookies whenever you're doing this stuff. Don't make sure to lock in on one. Do some research, get some diversity. So Samsung Lions, they shut out the Kia Tigers. Side note, Kia Tigers are managed by Max Williams, former MLB major leaguer, all-star, perennial for a while there. So they suck right now though, so it's not translating. So Samsung has a prospect, not a prospect, but a former MLB player on their roster. His name is Tyler Saladino, which we'll talk a little bit more in depth about some of those MLB players that are in this league later. KT Wiz and Doosan Bears. This was supposed to be a really high offensive scoring game, which it was just for one side, KT Wiz. Wiz have been like the doormats right now in the early parts of the season, and Doosan's been raking. They got guys that are hitting all sorts of stuff. They lead in extra base hits. Their averages, as far as the team goes, they are pretty high up there in the rankings. They've been playing really, really, really well on the offensive side. They just give up a bunch of runs also. And Doosan, just a little more background information on them. They're a staple of this league. They've been around. They're established. They've played in the championship 6 of the last 8 years. So this is a team that's been around. But right now, their team pitching stats are terrible. So for DFS considerations, if you want to play that, which, hey, sidebar, Monday, I'm going to have Andrew Hansen on. He is another member of Hoopball. He writes and contributes for us. He's a DFS mastermind, Ivy League education, scout, real smart fellow. So I'm excited to have Andrew back on. Follow him at Twitter. It's at Language Olympic. So we'll get into that on Monday. That'll be fun. But yeah, for the time being, targeting Doosan's pitchers. Like I said, they score a lot of runs, but they also allow a lot of runs. They have a team pitching ERA of 6.17, and they allow a good amount of doubles, 12. They've allowed 12 doubles, which is the most in the league, and they, their games are real hectic and crazy. They score a lot. The team scores a lot. And then to move forward here, we have the NC Dinos. Like I said, my favorite team. They took care of business against the LG Twins, 13-5. I'm going to move quick through these next couple, or this next one, I'm sorry. the Lot Giants, like I already said at the top of the show, they came up big late in the game, ended up coming back, winning. One major prospect for the Lot Giants that we'll talk a lot more about, Dixon Machado. We'll talk about him whenever I go over some of those MLB players in a little bit. But my oh my, that guy, him and then a couple other hitters on that team. From what I've seen, they are some pretty good offensive players. So with that being said, that's what happened last night. I'm gonna go ahead, or I guess that's what happened this morning, a few hours ago. Yeah, I fell asleep. I think in the ninth inning watching the Samsung and Kia game. Samsung just kind of cruised with really good pitching and good base running. And so right at the tail end of the game, I faded on the couch. Woke back up a few hours later, had to check all my bets and get ready for tonight's stuff and put some updated information together. And so last night was a pretty cool night. So some recent trends. So I got a lot of this information that I'm giving you here now from Bang the Book. And this contributor, I've been following him on Twitter for a good while now. He's a really smart, informed, and credible source, Adam Burke. He does some really good stuff. I love his stuff. I'd love to have him on the show, actually, too. That's a good idea. So we'll talk about it. We'll see about it. But some of this stuff here, I love this that I found. So far in this game, I've already told you 3-2 for the over last night in the games. And the over was like blown out. It wasn't like close. The over was like blown out. Games with 2 domestic Korean-born starters are 5-2 to the over to start the season. All 5 games on Saturday have South Korean starters. So keep that in mind. A couple things to keep in mind in general for Saturday. The rain, those South Korean domestic starters, and then just, make sure to keep those 2 things in mind. Lineups for these teams, I've been noticing you'll start seeing ramblings and people getting bits and pieces probably around. And again, this is my time, Central. I've been seeing stuff float in. Like probable starters go up at about 11 p.m., midnight. And then it kind of trickles after that up about 45 minutes, hour to first pitch. 13 home runs were hit on Friday. Brings us to 41 in 20 games. And this is a league that de-juiced the ball a couple years ago. But apparently the ball's playing differently. So not sure what's going on with that. And but we're averaging 2 homers a game right now, which is kind of awesome. 1.4 home runs per game last season for the whole season. So obviously a little on track to do a little bit higher. 9.9 runs per game have been scored, 11 runs per game in 2018, and 9.1 runs per game in 2019. So you can see we're kind of just weaving through that whole little area of those 9 runs per game. So that's some cool little trends that are going on here in the league early. And so what I'm going to do next is dig into some of those MLB players that I told you about and just familiarize ourselves with this league a little more in more relation to what we may be familiar with to maybe help with a transition into appreciating this league. Because so far for me, I love it. It's easy for me to like it. I've always loved Japanese and Korean players growing up. Ichiro Suzuki or Suzuki Ichiro was huge for me. Hideki Matsui. A couple of those guys growing up for me were always prevalent in the league, and I always was interested in their style of play because the Japanese and the Korean baseball players focus on defense. They are, contact pitchers. It's not a lot of strikeouts. Granted, it's not a lot of home runs either historically, even though they just dejuiced the ball. But it's a unique style of play, and that's where I'll leave that. And so some of these players that we were going to discuss, are raking right now. One specifically is going to be the guy I talked about, which was the Machado kid. And he is going to be someone that you want to keep an eye out for because he um, and some of you may even remember him from his time over here in the majors. He's a really good defender, first and foremost, and then he can get on base. He's aggressive once he does, and he's a smart hitter. So he's got some really good instincts to him, and he can also help his team out defensively on the diamond. And he is someone that I think you'll see is probably going to be at the top and maybe trying to hit for a batting title for the Korean League at the end of the season. And so moving on from him, there's a couple other players. There's a team here. Let me find this roster, but they got a good load of so the Lot Giants. Yeah, so I've been high on them. We've been talking about them a lot. So the Giants, Dan Straley, he bounced around the majors. 2012 to 14 with the A's, played with the Cubs. Go Cubs, go. In 15 with the Astros, 16 with the Reds, 17, 18 with the Marlins, blah, blah, blah. You get the story. But they also got Adrian Sampson, which if you like baseball, you know that name. Played with the Rangers most recently, pitcher, and real strong arm, power pitcher. And so they also have Dixon Machado. So they're loaded up with all these guys. And so moving on from that, we have the NC Dinos that have a couple of guys. And I'm not going to go through every single team and every single player, just some guys that stuck out to me. But the Dinos have Drew Rosinski. And I talked about him already a little bit on the show. But, man, this guy got it done his opening day start. He shut him out, got a shutout. I believe it was a complete game win. They also got Mike Wright, a really awesome pitching prospect that pitched with the Orioles for 4 years. Aaron Altherr right now is injured with a hand injury, I believe it is. Outfielder, played with the Phillies. He was in that class with Asdrubal Cabrera and Maikel Franco. So, yeah. And then we also have the Highwoom Heroes. They have a former Cubs prospect. Of course, I'm going to talk about that. Eric Jokic. They have Jake Brigham. Kid was a stud for a few starts in his limited action in the majors with the Braves. They have Taylor Motter. He was with the Rays, the Mariners, and the Twins. And then here's a cross KBO MLB connection. And this name, if you like baseball, you might recognize it. But Byung-Ho Park with the Twins in 2016. He's a first baseman. Real good bat. He had a really good year with them that year. Some guys got injured. It was when they weren't that great. Some of these prospects that are currently on the team were still in the farm system. Once they came up, it kind of pushed him out. So moving on, Doosan, like I said, they've been hitting the ball all over the stadiums. And Jose Miguel Fernandez, he was with the Angels, a slugger, in 2018. He's a first baseman, and he's leading the league right now in a lot of hitting categories. Mostly a lot of his power is what you'll notice. Chris Flexen, he was a pitching prospect for the Mets. And he was with them for 2 years, but he pitched last night and pitched pretty well. I want to say he got the start. Yeah, definitely, duh. But he got the win, and he was able to be effective on the mound and get the win for his team. Another team I would say watch out for as far as offensive scoring, SK Wyverns. Nick Kingham is the pitcher there. He was a big-time prospect and just kind of fizzled. But he was with the Pirates. He was involved in a trade, sent him to the Blue Jays, and then after that, not sure what happened in Toronto. And so Jamie Romack, he was with the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks in 14 and 15. He's a first baseman and outfielder. He's also with them. And then to round out their MLB players, they also have Ricardo Pinto. He's a pitcher. 2017 with the Phillies, 2019 with the Rays. And just to familiarize you with some of these big guys that are at the top of the hitting and pitching stats right now, just so if you want to track some guys, you can. Like I said, Jose Fernandez batting .563 right now. 16 plate appearances, 3 runs, 9 hits, 2 doubles, 11 total bases. Sitting at third, there's a 3-way tie. So move down to 6 just to see, some different names here. We got Hwang Min Song, and he is batting .500. He's got 8 hits and 13 total bases, 3 RBIs. Right now, your RBI leader is a 3-way tie. There's 6. 3-way tie with 6 RBIs. Sop Son, Dixon Machado, and Dong Min Han. 2 of those guys play with the Lot Giants. Like I said, Lot scores the most runs in the league right now. Their 2 guys are batting .400 and .375 collectively. 8 runs together, 12 hits, 22 total bases, and 12 RBI between the 2 of those guys. Not to mention, they have north of 1.0 OPS. So, they're slugging it. They're playing well right now. They're taking walks, also. It's a fun league. There's some cool stuff to dig into. I hope the MLB is able to kind of mirror what they want to do, what they can do, of course, with safety of everyone involved, and see if this is something that can be, utilized over here in a very safe way. But to talk about some of those pitching guys, you'll see a lot of you'll see a lot of the domestic-born players here. A lot of these guys have been in the league for quite some time. And just another little bit of background information about the makeup of these rosters. There's 26 people on the team, and you have 3 foreign players that can be on the team, 2 of which can be pitchers, and then you can have 1 hitter. And then those guys are the ones that are paid the big bucks. They're like celebrities. It doesn't matter if it's a Tyler Saladino or a Mike Wright or if it's going to be Aaron Brooks. These guys come over there, and they're like big stuff. So the top pitcher right now, granted, he's got 2 starts. He's got 2 games. He's a relief pitcher. So his stats are going to be a little bit different, but he's got 4 innings pitched, 3 hits, allowed, no runs, no anything. And that's Min Ho Lee. He's with LG. Drew Rosinski, he is a starting pitcher. He had that shutout game that I was telling you about. It was a complete game. And so he's only made 1 start. So a lot of these guys have only made 1 start, but just to familiarize you with some of the names that are successful, Warwick Saupold, he's another MLB player, pitched with the Tigers for 2 years. So with that being said, let's transition over into something else, maybe something a little more, like now. So speaking of something that I've done like now and most recently, something that I had a lot of fun with and I'm so grateful for, and I do hope that we can continue to work together in the future and collaborate between these 2 amazing podcast networks, is the KCPN, the Kansas City Podcast Network, KCP. So on Twitter, it's at KCPN, all caps, then it's ETWORK. The KCPN. So Gracie put together, alongside with a friend of mine, Aaron, which, man, I got a lot of people I just kind of want to get on here and pick their brains about stuff. So essentially we play this draft game where we mock draft the draft, blah, 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 blah. And so these folks did a live broadcast of it, did great audio and video and took good care of it. And Gracie's story, she came up in some local radio, and then she went ahead and wanted to do something on her own endeavors. So she created this one of a kind, first and only podcast network for Kansas City. It's not solely strictly just Kansas City, but it's all mostly, local people, media collaborations, all that good stuff, podcasts about all sorts of things, sports coverage, anything you could think about, comedy, real life situations. And so it's a whole series of things. And so we did this draft thing together. It was great. I had a fun time. And I want to do it more and more and more. So hopefully we can get Aaron and Gracie on, and we can talk a little bit more about the draft, dig into those futures, and how the draft can definitely affect betting markets. And then on top of that, just to give them a little bit of a platform, as well as us to just, sing each other's graces and talk to each other a little bit about our ambitions about the, broadcast, podcast, media. So to move on from that, love those guys. Go give Gracie a follow. Sprots Gat at Sprots SPROTS, and then the last three letters are GAT, GAT, all caps. So at Sprots GAT. That was fun. So yeah, again, just wanted to remind you, I really want to just try to find a fundraiser for some people that are doing something, an organization, maybe just something that we can boost up and help. If it's a community that's desperately in need, just like see if there's something we can do. I would like to, there's a lot of rough stuff out there going on. So, but that's the bleak stuff. We got some positive stuff to be looking forward to in the future. And that is, futures, the return of sports, and speaking of all that good stuff. So some futures I really, 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 really am keeping a big keen eye on right now is the Heisman odds. Those were just released. And I like this theory right here. It's, they're long shots for a reason, but hear me out. So the Heisman odds are released. There's these big name quarterbacks at the top, obviously, Justin Fields and, Trevor Lawrence. And then down a couple more spots at like plus 1,200, plus 1,550 or something. There's the two quarterbacks in the Big 12, and that's, a kid that's been sitting for a couple of years who was a 5-star blue chip recruit, Spencer Rattler, at quarterback for OU. Played high school basketball with Nico Mannion, who was the 5-star guard for Arizona, who's a draft prospect for the NBA. He's going to be starting this year for OU at quarterback. Then you're going to be playing against Sam Ehlinger in Texas, who is at plus 1,500. So those two battling it out, duking it out. I already put in a couple chump change pennies on some future action on that, because here's the thing: if you win that conference and if you have an overly successful year like Texas, if they can find a way to stay undefeated somehow or for a long part of the season, and OU does the same, and then they have these two giant colossal battles, their regular season matchup and then in the conference title, and then they just do it the right way and with the right numbers and beat the right teams and look the right way, one of those two kids could win the big thing, the Heisman. So that's how I feel about that. They would need some help from the top, but it's long shots for a reason. Also, NFL schedules were released. They were released. NFL schedules were released. So we can probably break down some of that here in the future, maybe do a couple episodes breaking down, NFC, AFC, or maybe even break it down a little further and talk about some wins, totals, all that good stuff. I already put some bets in. I like Keenan Allen's over receiving totals. They got it under 950 yards right now, I think it is. So I went ahead and did that over. Things have changed probably, but that's what I was able to get a couple of days ago. The quarterback situation is going to suck. Yeah, they're going to be conservative offense, but it's going to be a focal point of the offense, a theme, to get Keenan Allen the ball. So we'll talk more about NFL stuff. There's still a lot of draft coverage I have that I want to dig into. I've just been so excited with the Bundesliga, the KBO, all that good stuff popping up. So with that being said, Hoop Ballers, I have definitely said more than enough. Growing hoarse, and I appreciate you listening. Please do like, share, all that good stuff. Sending out to your friends. If you need some good KBO information, make sure to follow me at DALE007. Check out at Hoopball Gaming on Twitter. My cahoots, Josh Millman and Ira Silver Magic, as well as Neil Roshlani on Twitter, at Ira Silver Magic, at Josh Millman, at Neil Roshlani, Rochlani. We will be talking more about some of this stuff. We got some really awesome features and plugs coming in, I believe, and it's going to be a good, diverse portfolio as far as what we dig on and get our teeth into. We're going to talk about some Bundesliga heavily here soon, probably as heavily as I talked about KBO today. So I'll start digging into that for you guys. And, hey, if you want to play online Madden with me and do like a league or like a, online match or whatever, let me know. I like to play with the Bills and the Giants. I also play with the Titans, but you can pick the team I play with. So thanks again, guys. Stay safe, stay healthy, take care, and we appreciate it all. Bye-bye.
This has been a Hoop Ball presentation.